Welcome to Once Upon a Real Life with Belle, and this is a podcast about real life, just as it is. About the moments that challenge us and sometimes surprise us. No filters, no pretending. Quick thanks to the show sponsor, ActiveFlex. You're looking for pain-relieving gel with long-lasting relief for painful muscles and joints? You can use my discount code, BELLE10, for 10% off. Just visit alphasport.com.au. Let's begin today's episode. Today I'm joined by Tori Baxter, author of the debut memoir, My Sweet Monster, released on Valentine's Day 2026. Tori writes with courage and care about lived experiences, including pregnancy abandonment, CPTSD, chronic illness, sex work, and the impacts of abuse. Her story is honest, boundary aware, and deeply human. It creates space for conversations that are raw, respectful, and healing. There is a trigger warning that will come with this episode. Welcome, Tori.
Thank you, Belle. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. Tori reached out to me as she's got her memoir coming out, and she was a bit concerned that some of the topics that she's lived and experienced might be too much for the podcast, but nothing is too much for this podcast because it's real people, real stories. Tori, I believe you're a real person.
I hope so.
Tori, I believe this is a real story.
It is definitely a real story.
Well, then this is perfect. It's a match made in heaven. So this podcast, listeners will find if they go through the list of, I've had nearly 60 episodes now, and each and every episode is different because each and every human on the planet is different. We all walk different stories. We have different histories. And I think it's really important for people to be able to speak about what they've been through. Some of my most popular episodes have been really difficult stories for people to tell, but I think something is changing. I think that women in particular, I've had a few men come on and tell their darker stories, the happy stories lots of men will come and tell. But the women, they're really wanting to share, to connect with other women so that they can feel seen. They have lived something similar and they can feel like, I'm not in this alone. Somebody else has come through the dark place that I'm currently in. And I think that's a huge one.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I was abandoned while pregnant, I felt like I was the only woman on the entire planet going through that. Like at every doctor's appointment, I would sit there and see happy couples, and I'd be there on my own going, well, I've got no one to plan names with or a room with, and I've got no one to support me. And I remember looking online trying to find someone else that had been through it. And I found single mothers groups, but a lot of them had already had their babies and they weren't single when they were pregnant. So I felt very alone. And I do remember when I was giving birth, like in physical labor, I remember thinking, I'm going to write about this one day so that maybe someone else won't feel like the only woman on the planet going through it.
They can feel seen.
Yeah.
That was the moment that sparked the memoir. I love that. Yeah. So let's talk about you. So Tori, who are you? Who was Tori growing up? Tell me about yourself.
Tori growing up, that's a question. I was a misfit. I had ADHD, but I wasn't diagnosed. So growing up, I was labeled the bad kid, lazy, forgetful, didn't do the work because they just didn't want to. That was the sort of label I ended up getting. I didn't think I was very smart. I was always called a dumbass. And it was because my brain didn't process information the same way as everyone else did. And what I've now learned later on in life is I'm actually, this sounds ridiculous, but I'm incredibly intelligent, but in other ways. So I might not be book smart, but gosh, I've got a problem solving head on me. And that was something that was overlooked as a child. I was a single child of a mum who had a family of 16. So lots of mental health issues in her side of the family, drug abuse, poverty. And then my stepdad was a creep. And I didn't want to tell my mum because it would have broke her heart. So I just buried that little secret deep down inside me. But when I got to 14, I moved out of home because I didn't want to be around my creepy stepdad and I didn't want to tell my mum and break her heart. So I just ran away.
So mum couldn't see that he was a creep?
No, and see, she worked long hours. I was often left at
Was he a
home.
creep in the bedroom to you?
Yes. Yeah. And because my mother usually worked 2 jobs and all holidays, he was the one that looked after me and she trusted him because it was her love of her life. I did later on in life tell her, by the way.
I wonder if creep and bedroom is just too shallow. Can
Yep,
we say he was an abuser? He was a child molester and a creep.
both. Yeah. Um, so then what did I do? Then I moved out of home at 14.
You moved out of home and you
Yep.
told mum, or you moved out of home, then you
No.
told mum?
No, 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 I didn't tell mum until I was 30.
Oh, wow.
She was still with him until I was
Oh,
30.
wow.
Yeah, and so, all through my having children and all that, I didn't wanna go visit her because I didn't want my children around him, but I couldn't tell her that, so I had to create a wedge between us, and I know it sounds horrible, she blamed herself because she was like, "Why does my daughter not wanna be around me? Why doesn't she want to let me see my grandkids?" And it wasn't about her whatsoever, but I couldn't tell her that because I didn't wanna break her heart. So in me
So
protecting
was he good to her? Was he a loving husband to your
he
mother? Was he respectful and kind and
yes.
providing? What was this security? What was this?
Yeah, well, he was. He was a good husband to her. And I think that's what I really struggled with because I saw how much she adored him and how good he was to her. And I thought, there's no way in hell I can break my mum's heart and tell her
He's a
what her.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. So when I got to 30, we had a big fight on the phone one day. And she's like, I don't understand why your whole life you've shut me out. What have I ever done? And she was going off. And I was like, Mum, it's not about you. And it wasn't. That's the truth. I adore my mum. And she was like, please just tell me what I've done in your life for you not to want to be around me. I said, Mum, it's not about you. And she's like, did something happen to you when you were a kid and you've just never told me? And I said, yeah. And then I hung the phone up because I thought, shit, she's gonna know. Like she's gonna realize. And she
I
rang me
bet she
back.
didn't.
Well, she rang me back and she said, was it Neville he was the husband of a babysitter I had once?
Oh, so not even her
No.
partner.
And I said, it wasn't Neville. And then she said, was it Joe? I said, Mum, if I tell you the truth, it will break your heart. I can't. And she's like, please just tell me. And I said, yeah, it was. And she burst into tears. She was at work. This was during the day at work.
Were they still together?
Yeah. And she hung up the phone and then she rang me back and she said, I've just left work and I'm coming to your house and I'm never going back to him. So she left him that day. Like, thank God she believed me. Because there was also that fear of, what if she doesn't believe me? What if she stays with him? So, yeah, she left him that day and she never saw him again. She lost her house, everything, which I felt
Did
terrible for.
did did you go to the police?
I did go to the police. Yeah, I did go to the police because I
This is
thought
this is the Victorian police?
the Victorian police, because
Mm.
my mother was like, I want you to press charges. She's like,
Me too.
how dare he abuse my daughter?
He's
So,
ruined 15 years of your mother's life,
yeah,
but for you, it's 30.
yeah, yep. So she married him when I was 2 and I was 30 when I told her. So, yeah, 28 years. So I went to the police, and because a lot of this was historical, happens from when I was 3 years old until 14. So, and we had a lot of houses. I wrote a timeline because I could remember houses. So I had to kind of like tee up where I was at that house, how old. And I wrote a timeline anyway. And I went to the police and they said, well, you've written a timeline. So this isn't coming from your memory.
So
This
hang
isn't
on.
memories.
What is it?
You're not allowed to
What
write a
is it?
timeline because
Hang on. Why?
that would mean that you've like decided the timeline. That's what she said to me. She was apparently, if you've got it written down, it's not coming from memory.
But extremely daft and completely insensitive and wrong.
Yeah.
How many years ago was this, can I ask?
This was just after Ivy was born, 2000, and it would have been end of 2020.
I would say you try again if you have not, and times they have changed. I
Mm.
live in Queensland, and I know in Queensland they would take you seriously.
Yeah.
If you have it in you to try again, perhaps do.
Yeah. Well, there was also,
Is he still living? Is he still live, laugh, loving
oh,
life?
he's having a great time. I even had a recording. I ended up confronting him actually after Mum left, because he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill myself," and so he went and put himself in an institute after she left.
He put himself into care.
So I rang him and I recorded the conversation, and I said, "I've let Mum know about what you did to me when I was younger," and he said, "What? What? What?" And then I said, "I told her everything," and he said, "Thank you. Thank you for
Why?
doing that." I don't know.
Why?
I don't know whether he said that because he's been holding guilt, and then later on in the phone call, he started playing the dementia card and said, "Oh, sorry that happened to you. I don't remember that."
So you have that recording
I do.
and you took that to the police, or is that later?
I told the police I'd done that, and they said, that they would have preferred me not to do that because they like to record it themselves, so they can't use that. Whatever. So I gave up.
This is the problem. Women give up, but that big old creep could still be on the hunt. We don't know. I'm really sorry that that happened to you, and I'm really grateful that you told your mother.
Yeah,
I do you sometimes wish you told her earlier?
fucking oath. Yeah. I wish I told her when I was 5,
Do you
because there
remember
was
what he said to you so that you didn't tell her?
so this is the messed up thing. He used to bribe me with lollies. Like I was a little kid, so he'd be
But
like,
that's what they do, the
"Yeah,
Candyman.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah."
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so he used
yeah.
to be like, "I'll give you lollies, but you can't tell anyone." And for some
So
reason, my little brain was like, "Okay."
I'll
Don't
take the treat. I'll take the treat.
Yeah.
So he groomed you. He groomed you like a dog. You know how
Yeah.
you this is a psychological thing. A dog is just an analogy, but you can train people, especially from 3 years of age. He got you early and he was
Yeah.
able to convince you that this is a habit now.
Yeah.
You do this, you get a lolly.
Yeah.
You know, it's psychology.
Messed up.
Messed up. Can we talk about what happened when you were 15 and you moved? Where'd you go?
The first place I went when I moved was I had a boyfriend who had a friend, and because I actually slapped my stepdad the day I ran away from home because my younger cousin had moved in with us, and she was allowed to do whatever she wanted, and I was like, not allowed. And I got angry and I was like, I'm going out. And he's like, no, you're not. And I think he hit me first and I slapped him back. And then I just ran off. So I rang my boyfriend, oh, I've got nowhere to go. He was like, oh, you can come live with my friend, who's 28. At the time, you don't really think of these things. But thankfully, he ended up being a decent human. He gave me a house to live in, started working, and I just never went back.
Did you
Um,
leave school?
I left school, yep. I picked up a factory hand job. That was good. That was good money back then. And then I became a stoner and discovered you could make money from selling weed. So I was like, well, fuck working. I'll just sell dope. uh,
Money to be made.
money to be made. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yep. Yep.
After that, I met my first real long-term boyfriend. Unfortunately, he was a blackout drunk. So nice as pie when he was sober. And then he'd drink and just turn into Satan. Like, ugh, he'd be like choking me, saying, I'm sorry, I've got to kill you. And then in the morning, he'd be like, why are you upset? What are you upset about, baby? And I'd be like, you tried to kill me last night. He'd be like, oh, honey, I would never do that. And I'd be like, am I like insane?
So this is more psychological torture for you from another man. Oh my Lord. And how long did you stay with him?
So I got pregnant at 17 by him. And then
How old was he?
23 or 4.
Hmm.
And then I had my baby and the drinking got worse and worse. And every time he drank, he would take my baby off me so I wouldn't leave. So that would be like his control thing. He'd be like, I'm hot, it's my baby, rah, rah. And I'd be like, oh, let me have the baby. And he'd be like, no, you're going to run away. And there was one time in
This is
particular,
serious abuse.
this is nothing. This is like way down. But I mean, in the scale of things that have followed since then, that's nothing. Um, and one day I had to hold my baby and pretend I was patting the dogs in the backyard. But what I was really doing was waiting till he was distracted enough so I could run out the back door with my baby to the neighbour's house and say, call my mum to pick me up because he's going ballistic. That was good. Um,
And you only had one bubby to him, one
just
baby to
one,
him?
a daughter.
Yeah, and you
She,
didn't go back to him after?
no, no.
Good.
Um, and I haven't heard from him now since she was 6 years old. I don't know where he is or what he's doing. So that daughter is now 20. She's studying psychology. She's a very well-rounded, smart kid. She's probably my best child.
Congratulations, Mom.
Thank you. And then from there, hold on. I've missed a little bit of slice of the pie. I did leave him. I left him. And I all of a sudden realized, like, oh shit, this is the real world and I've got bills to pay and I've got no money because he used to take care of everything. So I got really far into debt and he said, why don't you let me watch the baby because I can pay for daycare and you can get a job. And I thought, they kind of twist these things up and you think it's a good idea. And I stupidly said, oh, okay, you want to help me? That'd be great. I really do need the help.
Thinking he could be decent and do what a father should do, would just take care of his child.
He then told me that if I ever try and get her back, he's going to take me to court, get full custody because I'm insane because he never tried to kill me. And if I tell those stories, he will prove that I'm insane because he's got money and I don't. And
So he effectively kidnapped your child.
yes. And I was so young and naive, I honestly thought, oh shit, I can't fight for my daughter. I'll never see her again. So, and I hate myself for this. I have so much regret around this. I gave up and I hate admitting that. And I hate that that was the person I was. But I just threw my hands up and went, oh shit. Okay, well, all right. Yeah, you have I was, a, I was a
You were a
pushover.
mess. You were a
Oh,
mess. You were a traumatized child who has
yeah.
had a child and is still in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You can't self-blame for that.
No. Well, I do, and then he got a new girlfriend who had daughters. And so in my head, I was like, oh, well, she's got a family now.
She's safe.
She's fine. She's got a family and I'll just pretend she doesn't exist. And this is when my little life of drugs started, actually, because I was just like, well, there's nothing else to live for. And I was,
You needed a mental checkout. The drugs were your checkout.
yeah.
So common.
Yeah. So it was mainly just speed and pills. They were my demon drug. But, I started doing drug runs over the border and I'd become a drug mule for people. And I was a
In
mess.
Australia or overseas?
Just in Australia, like over
Yeah.
the borders.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't really written heavily about that in my book or anything. So during one of these drug mule runs over to South Australia, I was first on scene to a car accident where the driver had died and the 2-year-old in the backseat was trapped for 3 hours. And the kid was the exact same age as my daughter at the time. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like that could be my kid. And after we'd done the run and came back, the guy I was with said, oh, we'll pop in and see my sister on the way home. And I thought, oh yeah. And we got to this little shack in the back of someone's house, like a little unit. And his 45-year-old sister's like, you know, doing lines of coke or whatever she was doing at 4 o'clock in the morning, living in squalor. And I remember thinking like, fuck, if I don't pull my finger out my ass, that's going to be me.
Really?
It was like this.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought,
So seeing her was a wake-up call for
and the
Tori.
accident, because it happened at the
And
same
the
time.
accident, yeah.
And I got home and I'm going to admit this on camera because it's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny that I admit it, just throw myself under the bus. I had no money. I was broke as fuck. And so someone might have pinched my car and I got an insurance payout and I brought a ute with a canopy on it and I packed all my shit and my dog in there, changed my phone number and I drove up north and I thought I'm just going to get clean. And then I met my husband up there. And so I did have 10 years of no very little trauma, which was lovely. And I got my daughter back.
Across state
Yeah,
lines, you got her back. Across state
no,
lines.
no. So I met my husband in New South Wales, and then we moved back to Victoria.
Right.
And I was contacted by the girlfriend of my ex, the one with the daughters, and she said, I'm going to try and get you some visitation with your daughter. And she said, but I need you to not bring her back because he's been bashing the shit out of me in front of the girls and raping me in front of the girls. And she's like, I'm only staying for your daughter's sake at the moment. Dead set. And yeah, I know, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Like she was sacrificing herself to be there for my daughter. And
God
so
bless her.
right? She sent me photos of herself, like, black and blue, like,
I've got
horrid.
goosebumps from the
I
head
know.
to the toe.
Yeah. I will always be so very thankful to her for that, and so she organised for me to see my daughter, and then she said, "Don't bring her back." Like, she's like, "Do not." She's like, "I need to get my kids out of here, but I can't do that while
Yep.
she's in the scene." And so I didn't take her back. I kept her. She was, 4 then, and my husband supported me in that.
What was the reunion like with your daughter?
She was over the moon to see me, but
She remembered you?
oh, yeah, yeah.
Did
But the
she?
yeah, she did, but the
Because
problem
2
was
years is a long time.
it is a long time. Yeah. The problem was within me. I was very back then, the version of myself, I was a very hardened, can't let anyone in, don't hug me, don't touch me sort of person. And so she'd be, like, grabbing on me and trying to love me, and I'd be
Mummy,
like,
mummy, mummy.
"Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice." And it took me many years to fix that, and
Also,
I
get off.
yeah, I just didn't know how to process my own traumas, at that, and
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anyone for any of it yet, and I felt it took me a long time, and now that I'm better, I'm like, she's moving out of home to go to uni, and I'm like, "What about me? Stay," but,
Maybe
yeah,
there's
so
plenty of time when if she decides to be a mum, there's plenty of time to snuggle that bubby.
yeah, I know, just so that was on me. I wasn't a very good mum,
You weren't
like I
okay, Tori. You were not okay. It's not you weren't a
was
good
not
mum.
okay.
You were not good. Full
No,
stop. You
at all.
needed you to be healed before you, and that's what they always say, like the aeroplane when it's in distress and it drops down that oxygen. You've got to give yourself that mask
Yeah,
before you can give it to somebody else. You have to be able to take care of you.
and I hadn't been. But then I had my husband and we lived in a little country town and we had a kid together, and before I even had her, like, he was begging me for years to have a baby, and I was like, "So no, man, because what if I lose another kid?" Like, I had that whole fear, and so when my
Yeah.
second daughter came along, I didn't let anyone babysit her. I was like, "That's my
Oh,
kid. Don't touch
she,
her.
she
You're
mine.
yeah, you're
Mm.
not you're not driving in the car with her. You're not taking her." And it was so bad. I actually developed a form of it wasn't like postnatal depression. It was postnatal anxiety because
Yes.
I couldn't sleep. I had to check she was okay. I was taking her temperature fucking 50 times a day because I was like,
Yeah.
what if something happens because I've already fucked up with the first one? I can't do it with the second. And then I finally saw a psychologist and we started going over stuff, and I was still hiding the stuff about my stepdad because my husband didn't even know.
Oh,
And yeah, and so after 10 sessions, my psychologist said, there's something else. I know there's something else. All this didn't come from high school bullying, and I was like, "No, no, there's nothing. I've got
it
nothing
did,
to put."
mate. Look at it.
And then I was like, "You promised not to tell anyone." And I told him, and they said, "That's huge." He's like, "Have you told your husband?" I'm like, "No." And so then I told my husband. That was the first one. And then I told my childhood best friend, and she's a psychologist now. And she's like,
Did she not pick it up?
I fucking knew it. I knew it. Yeah. Um, and so then so I ended up gradually telling some friends. I kind of got a little bit braver with every time. It was very
Smart.
therapeutic to get it off my
Smart.
chest.
Mm.
And so then I was still with my husband, and still occasionally seeing my mum and Joe and everyone going, "Hey, hey, hey," in the family, but we're all like, "Oh, he's hugging me," but we wouldn't see him very often.
Completely fake and false. Yep.
Because I had ended up telling my children, because I had foster kids as well.
Did you
Um,
say keep away from Grandad Joe?
yeah, well, it was like
Wow.
you watch him around the little kids, like, so my older, I feel like I've skipped 100 steps, but my cousin had come to live with me. Her mum was a drug addict and ended up passing away from a catastrophic stroke. So she came to live with me at 14. And so did my husband's ex-wife's daughter at 14 come to live with me. So we had older kids in the house. So I was like, watch Joe around the little kids.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, anyway, my husband, he was an absolutely fantastic husband, father, and friend when he was sober. Could not fault him to a T. Still to this day, I'll praise him for that. You couldn't have asked for a better husband. Um, but when he drinks, he gets a little aggro. And after 10 years, I was like, I've had enough of this. And you need to stop drinking or I'm going. And
So are you telling me this is the third man to be physically abusive with you now?
he wasn't physically abusive. He was just very scary because when he used to get aggro, he would like drive his car into my car so he never laid his hands on me, but he certainly like kicked coffee tables upside down and, you know, like he was one of those people that would speed in the car. He'd drunk drive and like, he'd be like, I don't want you to take the kids in the car while you've been drinking. And he'd be like, don't fucking tell me what to do. Like he would be one
Yeah.
of those.
So he was dangerous
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yeah, more scary, like
Mm.
he would just frighten me. But it was only when he'd have to have 8 beers or more, and that's when he'd just go aggro. If he had 6, he was fine, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and which was heartbreaking because I did really trust him as a husband. He was a very involved father. He'd always be taking the kids fishing and on holiday, very actively involved husband and father. So it's a real shame that he had this issue when he drank. It was a
Did he
shame.
understand when you left him?
He did. He knew he'd been pepper sprayed by the cops a couple of months prior for being an aggro fuck in town, like so I told him, there was at least 2 years prior to me leaving
Of
where it was like
warnings.
of me leaving the house or me kicking him out or, it was just, ugh, I've got no problems with him now. I do.
Do you co-parent with him now?
Well, our child has autism and she gets this thing in her head where if she decides she doesn't like you for something, she'll just hate you for a year, like doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to engage. So she had decided she likes to wear tails, okay? She's a furry,
Mm.
whatever. And I think he'd made a comment about it at one point, not in a harsh way, but it's
And she
just,
cut him off.
she cut him off.
Mm.
So, and she also doesn't like his new partner. And so actually just last weekend, because it's gotten to the point where he's been ringing and ringing and ringing and she won't answer. He's been wanting to see her. She doesn't want to see him. And I ended up saying to his new partner, like, how about we all go out for lunch together so she can see that I've got no problem with them.
Yeah. Great.
And it worked. So we all went out for lunch and it was actually really good. We all had a laugh and me and his new
Was she
partner were
able to was she able to wear the tail? Did he deal?
I can't remember. I can't remember if she wore it or not.
Yeah.
But I think it was good because she saw us all having a laugh together and chatting and, me and his new partner were picking on him, like just
Yeah.
being jolly
Jovial.
and fun.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the word I was looking
Yeah.
for. And when we left, I said, so how was that? And she's like, not too bad, I guess. I said, you
Mm.
going to see him then? And she's like, I guess so. So
Excellent.
she
Well
did.
done, Mum.
Yeah. So she did talk to him on the phone last night.
Yeah. Did you delete stuff?
I deleted a whole bunch of apps and I
Yeah.
had a 20-minute video.
You emptied your bins?
Oh, you know what I could do? Yeah. Review larger attachments. Here we go. Oh, let's get rid of some of this shit. Oh, look, there's lots of porn and all sorts on here. My porn, I mean, like not other people's porn on. I don't watch other people's porn. I don't watch my porn. I just when
I only watch my own porn.
it sounds weird. I mean, as in like when I sell my porn to people. Oh my God, there's so much. No wonder my phone was having a freaking
I
meltdown.
want this in the podcast. I mean, it's
Do it.
recording, but I won't use it, but I want it.
You can go ahead and use whatever you want. I'm not even worried. Okay, here we are.
Okay, so where were we? You have left your second marriage.
I'm on Tinder, living my best life.
Okay, yeah, let's go back to there. Okay, so after your marriage was over.
Yeah, I was like, I'm free. I'm in my 30s, because I got married at 21. So that was quite young. So most of my adult life had already gone. Well, I mean, my young adult life had disappeared. And so I was just living for one night stands and I was just being a free whore, not a paid one. I was just living my best life.
Yeah.
I sort of said to my best mate, like, what am I going to do with my life now? He's like, you could try and fuck 100 people by the end of the year. And I went, why don't I do that? So I just went on this little mission just to have all these like notches in my belt because I was living my 20s. And then I met a man that, he was just going to be another notch in my belt. No big deal. And before we'd even met, we'd been having these 3-hour conversations on the phone every night and just finding all these similarities. There was so much of our lives that we went to the same high school. We lived in the same town as kids, like his best friend was best friends with my best friend's wife and just all these weird.
You connected.
We did. And
Yeah.
it was just we were just so similar in everything. And so we met up for our first date and like I'd already been having Tinder flings left, right, and center. And I was used to just rocking up and getting bent over. And this guy had gone and made a cheese platter and brought, I didn't drink. So he brought, lemon lime and bitters to make up for me. And, it was just, he had a fire going. I was like, oh, he's adorable. This man's he's everything I could ever want. And he's hot. Like, and not only that, he didn't put any moves on me straight away. So then I started thinking, like, maybe he's not really interested. Like, why is he not doing what the other 99 guys have done? And then he said, oh, do you want to stay the night? And I thought, well, you haven't really, like, are you even keen? Like, am I staying the night as friends? Like, what's going on here? Just so you know, I sleep naked. And then he dropped his pants and he was hung like a horse. And I had to pretend I didn't notice. Like, I didn't want to be like, oh, you're hung. So I was just like, oh, nice ass. Because I thought maybe that would, I'm not, I don't want you just for that giant elephant, It was a beautiful penis. Unfortunately, it's attached to an absolute idiot. Anyway.
Oh.
So we got tangled up in each other very, very quickly. And like, we were seeing each other every day. We couldn't stop the phone to each other. We were just like totally just in each other.
All in.
Even though we both expressed that we didn't want to be all in, it was very obvious that we were very connected. And there was so much of him that just screamed me, and vice versa. And I actually had never felt so safe with someone in my life. I was used to all these violent alcoholic men and he'd get drunk and it'd just be funny, And then he came up to my house one day, only 4 weeks after we met. Like we'd been seeing each other in the meantime. And I said, oh, I'm ovulating. We should probably get the morning after pill just to be safe because, we both don't want any more kids. I've got enough. He's got enough. And so I was like, well, since we've got the morning after pill, we may as well have some fun with it, Let's have a cream pie party. And I ended up pregnant.
And you took that pill?
I took that pill. He saw me take the pill. And turns out that if you've already ovulated, it's less likely to work. I didn't know that. And here I was just like, woo, cream pie me all night long and let's have a great time with
Oh,
it. Raw dog me left, right, and center.
and then
And
baby.
but the thing was, just before the day, well, 3 days before I got the positive test, we'd decided we should call it off because it's too intense. We're too wrapped up in each other. It's too much. We don't want a partner, so we called it off. And then, we had a couple of days of silence between us. It was the first time we had silence, and I was just like, "Oh, my life is ruined. I love this man," like, and that actually, there's so much, so much. This is a whole 5 years worth of book in one sitting. But anyway, he rang me up and said, I can't be without you. I haven't stopped thinking about you. And I'm like, oh, I haven't stopped thinking about you either. And the day he was due to come up, I just thought, I haven't really, don't think I've got my period yet. I should probably pee on a
Mm.
stick. And so he comes back up to reconnect with me just for me to be like, surprise, there's a baby on the way.
Hi, Daddy. This podcast is supported by our friends at ActiveFlex, the Australian pain relieving gel designed for long-lasting relief for painful muscles and joints. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If your symptoms persist, please seek advice from a healthcare professional. You can shop online at alphasport.com.au and use my special code BEL10, BEL10. And that's just a little special code for you as a listener of the podcast, using the discount code at alphasport.com.au. Oh,
And he said, you know what, whatever decision you make, I'll support you. And I thought the smart thing would be to get an abortion, but I'd never actually had one before, but I was like, it'll be fine. So he drove me down to Melbourne for the appointment, and I was like, they're trying to put bands on me to take me into surgery. And I'm like, I just like, what if I regret it? Like I was like hyperventilating. And they sat me down and they said, we're not going to offer you an abortion here. Sorry, our services aren't available to you because you're too upset and we don't think this is the decision you want to make. Sorry, ta-ta. And I was like, oh, he's in the waiting room and I can't tell him that we're having a baby with. And so I said to him, like, I rang him. He was outside having a cigarette. And I said, oh, yeah, come, yeah. And he's like, I knew you weren't going to be able to go through with it anyway. And don't worry, I'll be there no matter what. So then we had to tell our family members, like, hey, I met this guy 4 weeks ago and we're having a baby. Oh, no, it wasn't 4 weeks at that point. Sorry. It was probably, it was around 10 weeks, or
yeah.
something like that. We're having a baby. Like, so all my friends and family were like, the fuck is
What?
this man?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I was so confident in his love for me and his authenticity with his love for me that I just believed that, he had a son that he was a great father to, and he had a great relationship with his ex. It was one that I really admired too. I loved that they co-parented so healthily. And then at 8 months pregnant, out of nowhere, he said, I don't love you anymore because you kept the baby. And I was like, the fuck do you want me to do about it right now? Like, it's coming. I can't stop. What do you want me to do? What can I do? Do you want me to get the baby away? Like, I was just so blindsided. I had no clue that that was what was coming. And it just and instead of giving me answers, the only answer I got is because you kept the baby. That's the only explanation he ever gave me. He never elaborated on it. He never told me how I could fix it. He never told me if you were still going to be there. Are you going to still come to the birth? Are you still going to be a
So he
parent?
was exiting
Out.
both of your lives.
Yeah. And I lost it. And because I was like trying to get answers, like, can you please tell me, like, what have I done wrong? Is there something I said? Is there something, like, because we had never fought, there was no,
Fine.
it was fine. Just
Mm.
the week prior, he'd sent me this big letter about how much he loves me and how much I'm his whole world and his safest person and this and that. And then a week later, I don't love you anymore because you kept the baby. And I was just so fucking blindsided. And I kept saying, like, please just, like, why? What's happened? And he'd be like, not tonight, hang up. That was his answer. And so then the next day I'd be like, okay, maybe today he's going to tell me. So I'd ring him and be like, can we talk now? And he'd be like, not tonight, hang up. And not tonight became a forever thing. I never got any closure. He never gave me any explanation. It was not tonight, not tonight, not tonight. And in fact, in my book, I wrote at the start of my book, I have kept the conversations exactly how they were so you can see how maddening it was, because my editor was sort of like, "You should take some of the repetitive language out." I said, "No, because that's what fucking
That's
happened.
what it was.
Not tonight, not tonight, not tonight, not tonight." Like, you would want to I probably didn't even write it as much as it happened in my book, you know? Um, so then I was faced with, I'm gonna give birth on my own because it was COVID. You were only allowed to have one person, and I could have got someone, but in my mind, I was like, "What if he still wants to rock up?"
So
So
you
I don't
kept
want
that
I
space.
kept that space open, and
Yeah.
I was praying and wishing and begging the universe, please let him come. Because I knew that if he missed that birth, he wouldn't have the connection with his baby like he did with his son. I knew he would. And he would say to me, "What do you want me to do? Fucking sit there and hold your hand? I don't want to fucking, and I would be like, can you please just come, man?" Like, he's like, I don't want to sit in the corner and have to read a magazine and be bored. And I was like, motherfucker, you can't take your baby mama to give birth to your child at hospital. That drove this really ugly, nasty, hurtful wedge inside me because I just felt, I was like, I must be the most hated person on the planet. I must be such a bad person that he can't do that. It must be me. It's got to be me. Surely it's me. He treats his ex partner with, who he has a son with respect. What have I done? So I ended up getting a lot of the self hate. It's probably even more than I've expressed in my book, and I think I've expressed it a lot. It was very deep, very ugly. I shaved my hair off. I had hair down on my ass when all this happened. I just hated me. I just looked in the mirror and I saw a fucking ogre. I was like, you're disgusting. You're hated. You're unlovable. This is the sort of thing I would say to myself. You are filth. If someone could do this to you, you're filth. So I shaved my hair off, the one thing that was like my asset in life, you should have seen my hair. It was fucking glorious. And I just went into this very dark place where every day I was planning, okay, how can I kill myself? How can I die without making a mess? What's the most short way to die? And I went through all the options, and that's all I got stuck on, in loops and loops. And everyone was like, think of your children. I was like, they're better off without me. I'm a piece of shit. They don't need me. Like, if the man I love and I swear, I loved this man more than my own husband. I adored him, like worshipped the ground he walked on. So if the man who I loved that much didn't give a fuck if I lived or died, my kids will be fine. And that was what got stuck in my head, which is, sorry, I'm probably like overloading you now.
No, no, no. I'm in awe of how you got through that.
I went to hospital and I was a little irrational because I was not well. I went to hospital and I said, can you please put me in a coma until I give birth? And they said, no. And I said,
No can do.
why won't you put me in a coma? I'm asking you to put me in a coma. If someone wants to be put in a coma, can't you just put me in a coma? And they're like, we can't put you in a coma until you give birth. I'm like, why? Why? I'm asking for it. They're like,
Hang on, until you give birth, they're still not going to put you in a coma after birth.
I was so unwell that I didn't see that as irrational. My mother dragged me to hospital because she was like, "You need help." I was like, I don't need no help. They just need to put me in a coma. I just didn't see it.
What you're saying to them is, I am not okay. I am not
I was
okay. I am
not
not okay.
okay. I actually,
Did someone give you help?
they just gave me a script for Lexapro and said, see ya. And
Did that help?
no, I was mentally
No.
tormented at this point. And what they should have done is probably given me an emergency psychiatric evaluation
Yeah.
and given,
Was someone checking on the kids? Were you able to parent at that point?
I couldn't parent at all.
So who was taking care of the kids?
I'll tell you, me, I
The
was,
one that's not okay and wants to be knocked out is still caring.
who's daydreaming about how to kill herself. So I was just ordering takeout every day because I I couldn't cook. I couldn't clean. My house was fucking filthy. I'm ashamed to admit that. Like, I've got ADHD and I'm already messy as it is, but it was filthy. There was fucking shit everywhere because I did not care. I stopped paying all my bills because I was like, I'm going to kill myself soon anyway, so I'm not going to pay my bills.
You are deep in grief.
I
You are
was,
deep in
I
in
was,
in anxiety. You are deep in so many different
I was in a
psychological.
very, 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 very dark place, and I and the thing was, because I was in such a dark place, no one wanted to be around me because they'd be like, "Just get over him, just get over him." But it was
Move on.
deep. It was deeper than that. It was a
It
reckoning of
was
my entire.
psychological.
Oh yeah, my entire soul had been ripped to shreds by this man's actions because it wasn't just the dumping. It was the unable to give me. It was the cruelness. Not tonight.
It was
Well,
zero validation of
zero.
you being pregnant with his baby 8.5 months or 8 months.
Yeah. So it was more than just a breakup. It was the nastiness that came from him, the inability to give me some type of closure. Like, I was begging, like, please, please, just tell me like what I did. Like, I needed understanding because I couldn't
Mm.
understand it. And not only that, the him not being able to give me answers about, are you going to be a dad? I'd be like, can you just let me know? Because if you let me know, then I can prepare. Like, are you going to be a
Right,
dad?
right,
Not
right.
tonight. And then I'd be like, well, okay. So then
Someone's fed that to him. That someone's fed that to him to say to you to get off the phone.
I don't know.
Not tonight. Not tonight. Like that's really weird.
It's cruel as fuck. And then
It's really, really cruel.
sometimes I'd say to him, like, I'd beg, like, grovel like a dog. And he'd be like, all right, you've got 10 seconds, right, to talk to him. And he'd go, 10, 9, 8, 7. And I'd be trying to talk 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hung up.
He's a pig.
He
He's a pig.
dog. And you know the worst thing about it is, like, I had midwives saying, like, have you heard of coercive control? Have you heard of narcissism? Have you heard? And I'd be going, oh, no, no, no. I think he's just got postnatal depression. Like, the man I loved and adored, the safest man in the planet to me, would never do that. So surely he's got postnatal depression. Something's going on. Maybe I need to help him. Like, so I'd be saying to him, like, do you want me to help you find somewhere to, like, talk about, your
Your
yeah,
feelings.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, not tonight. Not tonight. And so I was scrambling for answers. It just sent me into, it was like psychological warfare, and nothing short of, it was horrid.
Hell. It was
It was hell on earth. Anyway, gave birth to my third daughter. So when I was pregnant, he kept saying to me, you're going to find out what it is, because is it a boy or an abortion? Right. So I purposely was like, I don't want to know what it is, because it's going to be, I didn't care. I just wanted a healthy baby. Yeah. And so I must admit, when my baby came out and I was convinced I've got two girls, surely this is a boy, and they said it's a girl, a little part of me was like, fuck you, buddy. Like, it's a girl. And then I had my baby and I was still very grief stricken.
So did you get on top of the trauma that you were already experiencing and
No,
the lifelessness that you were looking for, did you get postpartum depression on top of that? And was there
not,
support there?
not in regards to my baby at all. She was
So you were able to parent a
yeah,
newborn? Yeah.
somewhat. As in, like, I've always been a very calm mother with babies and very nurturing like that. So I didn't actually find her coming into the world difficult. Like, I wasn't, if anything, she was the only joy I got, and I kind of, when she was born and placed in my arms, I remember looking at her and saying, like, it's just you and me. I've got you. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. So I still had that protective nature about me. Like, even
And
though
there was
I was,
love. There was love
there
for
was
this
love.
brand new human.
Oh, and, I really recognized that I was all she had. She had no one else. And, she come out, she just looked at me and made this little squeak noise. And I thought, oh, like, and God, she looked like him. Oh my
Oh,
fucking, she still does. She doesn't look like me at all. She's him. So she come out and I just saw this little him and I thought, how could he? Like you know, so
his
that was,
loss,
that's,
Tori. His
huh?
loss. It's his loss.
110%. She is
Mm.
such a good kid. She's so brilliantly smart, like she's almost evil genius smart. Um, anyway, so I was still holding all the trauma. I was still trying to process that, still begging him, are you going to be a dad? Because I'm an idiot. God, the amount of fucking novels I sent this man, because I tried everything. I tried,
So you continued after Bubby, you
yeah,
continued trying to bring him back to his senses and become a father that you know he is.
yeah. And that was probably the most
Yeah.
frustrating thing. If he hadn't already had a son who I'd seen him how he was with he calls every night, tries to see every weekend, I probably wouldn't have been so messed in the head.
Mm.
But because I knew he had the
That he had
capacity
it.
to be
Mm.
a good father, and he'd promised
Mm.
me I'm not the sort of man that would ever leave my child, that messed me up. So I tried groveling, I tried begging, I tried yelling, I tried pleading, I tried reasoning, I tried bargaining, every type of angle you could ever hit someone with to try and get some sort of, like, what do you call it?
Some kind of emotion.
Something. I tried every angle. I even, in desperation, went to the extreme. I'm a very good letter writer. Okay. Your girl knows how to write letters. Well, I can write a book, but I even went to the extreme of faking a letter from a lawyer saying that if you would not like to have your daughter in your life, you can sign over your rights and fill in this paperwork, because I thought maybe if he gets scared enough, he might pull his finger in his ass and be a dad.
Yes.
That didn't work either.
He signed the paperwork.
No, he
He just
didn't
didn't
sign
respond.
nothing. There was probably 3 times where I lost my shit. Every other time I'd be like this, talking. I'm usually a pretty calm person in confrontations, but there was 3 particular times I do remember I went fucking ballistic because I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck is wrong with this cunt?" And
Yeah.
up until that point, it was just crying and begging and trying to be calm.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
I got angry because I was like, "Where is this cunt?"
That's
Anyway,
another stage of grief, you know. If you actually step through the stages, it's like I'm recognizing a lot of the stages you went through: the
bargaining and
begging, the groveling,
pleading.
the
Yeah.
disbelief, the this can't be true, and then finally the rage.
Oh yeah.
Rage.
Oh, I was raging all right. And
Mm.
so he tried to not tonight me bullshit, and I'd fucking lost it. I flipped, a scream. I went nuts. Anyway, hung up the phone, woke up the next morning, and I was like, fuck, I can't really see. Like, I couldn't look. I was all like, fucking something's going on here. And so I drove to the hospital, to the doctors like this. And I got to the doctor and she said, oh, it's vertigo. Go take some tablets. You'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe, I'm just being. I got home and I had the tablets. And a few hours later, I was like, no, something's not right. So I went to emergency and I was like, something's up with my eyesight.
Was it shingles?
No, she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, yeah, your eye's not moving." So my eye went completely paralyzed overnight. And all of a sudden I was thrown into this medical shitstorm. Turns out it was a bit of stress, but anyway. And I went partially blind for 8 months in this eye. And I do truly believe it was all the trauma stored up in my body, and that's how it all came about. And now when I get stressed, actually, we'll tell you about that in a minute. So then I went into remission for 18 months. So I'm a one-eyed pirate. I hate my life. I think I'm a piece of shit. I've been abandoned. I need to feed my kids. I start prostituting, right? Because I was like, pretty unlovable anyway, so I may as well just go get paid to fuck. And I did enter the industry with a very whore-phobic view of the industry. It was mainly from society and the way things, like if you're a sex worker, you're a dirty piece of shit type of thing, which is what the media makes you to believe. So I did start it from a place of hate, hated myself. I just did not, you know what? You want to be a piece of shit and rape me in the room? I don't care. That's the attitude I had. I just despised myself and everything.
Did you go through a brothel or
Uh,
did you meet people out? How were you
I went
doing
through a
this?
brothel. Yeah, I
Yeah.
went to the brothel and said, "Oh, hi." Anyway, so I started my life of full service sex work, and when I discovered that, because I thought that when I started that all the women were gonna be drug addicts and they were gonna be, like, all catty. This is the image I'd built up in my head. And then when I went to work, I was like, "Fuck, these chicks are just like me. They're single mums, they got trauma, they're neurodivergent," and I was like, "Holy shit," and they're lovely. They were so welcoming and, like, probably the
Yeah.
kindest workplace I've ever worked in my life was a brothel. And over time, I started to get a bit of empowerment from sex work because I was like, these men are paying to be with me. So obviously I'm not worthless. Like, but yeah, okay.
So confidence is what you're saying you were gaining there,
Oh,
as well as
I
income to
did.
pay for the bills and pay for your children to eat.
Yes. Yes. So
Confidence was coming back.
it
Was
did.
your eye back?
Yeah, it started coming back. I had movement back in it.
Yeah.
Um, and I was starting to kill it at life and do good. And then what happened?
How long were you doing the sex work?
From 2021 until a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
In the same place? You stayed in the same
no, no,
workplace?
no. I went all over the place. I worked privately. I've done BDSM. I've
Yeah.
done content. It's a wide band. I talk about that a lot in my book. Anyway, and right at the peak of me feeling great, mind you, in this point, so not long after I started sex work, my ex vanished completely. No more contact. That was it. Done. Oh fuck! I forgot. No, I won't tell you. You'll read about it in the book. I don't want to spoil everything. Um,
So there's a bit there that we're gonna read about in the book, listeners.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's important to keep some spoilers. So 3
My sweet
years
monster.
3 years of no contact, none. So, he hadn't seen the little one since she was, like, 6 months old.
Oh, so he
And
saw her at some point.
oh, 10 minutes twice.
Okay.
3 years no contact, my confidence is going back up. I finally kinda like myself again. I've learnt a lot about my anxieties. I've learnt how to control my eye situation.
You're earning money.
I'm earning money.
Kids are happy?
Kids are happy. I've got a
Do
really
kids know what mum does?
the older ones do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how
Uh,
do they take that?
uh, they understand. I don't think they think it's great, but they also know that I was doing it to put food on the table and they
Uh-huh.
respect it, you know. Um, yeah, life's good. Life's great. And then I get a phone call in the middle of the night and I fucking knew it was him. I knew. Like I didn't know the number, but it was on my
How
work.
long ago?
December 2023.
And what was the phone call?
Well, it was him, and I answered the phone. See, it was my work phone, and I've named him Vinny in my book, right? I answered my work phone, and I just said, "Vinny," but before he even said hi, and he goes, "Yeah." And the little one, who's never met him, well, at this age, doesn't know his name, doesn't know what he looks like, she leant over and goes, "Is that my daddy?" Yeah.
And she didn't know his name.
She did not know his name. She didn't know his voice. No, and all of us were like, firstly, how did I know? Secondly, how did she know? Like, how? How did you know that?
Oh, that's freaky.
Yeah. So he rang to say that it was the biggest mistake he ever made in his life. He's hated himself for years. He's never forgiven himself for the actions. And yeah, we chatted on the phone for like 4 hours and I was finally getting all the answers I needed for fucking closure all those years. Like, why couldn't you give me this?
Please tell me you put that in the book. Please tell me you
Oh,
put those
yeah.
things that he says
Yeah.
in the book. Okay,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
tell me now because we need to read this.
Or maybe I shouldn't tell you any more of the book then.
I have to know, but don't tell me now. I want to read it, or do tell me now, but I want to know what excuses he has for all of that. This little Mr. Piggy.
Little Mr. Piggy. Should I tell you what happens next then?
Okay.
We get back together. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Look how large your heart is.
Oh, right? Thank you. I need a bit of recognition for being able to take that
Oh!
motherfucker back.
So is he in the room right now? Is he in the house
Oh,
right now?
sweetie, honey, darling. That's like the last half of the book goes into that.
Oh my
He is
god.
not
Okay.
in the room.
So this was not a fairy tale ending with Vinny.
It was not. And maybe we should leave it at that because
Yeah, let's leave that at that.
it gets so much more after that.
Wow. And when did you start writing My
Uh,
Sweet Monster?
March last year.
Yeah. And was that therapeutic?
So I was a little bit delusional still and you will find out when you read the book. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but I was a little bit delusional in why I started writing it. And you'll know when you read it because you'll know when it ends and you'll go, bitch, why did you do that? The last chapter is going to fuck people up, and I'm either going to have a whole bunch of people saying, I know why you did that. And the other half are going to be like, are you insane? So,
Oh my god.
yeah. So I wrote the whole story, and then I had to read it again to edit it, and read it again to edit it, and again and again. And every time I read it, now when I wrote it, I actually didn't I just wrote the story from my heart, everything that happened. And I just wanted to be transparent and get it all out. And you'll notice that I throw myself under the bus a lot. But I actually, the first time I wrote it, didn't realize how much of a fucking asshole he was. And every time I read it, it was like a
You're
light
like,
bulb.
what was I thinking calling him?
It was,
That's what
yeah,
I was thinking. Girl,
like,
why are you calling this
stop,
guy?
stop. But
Vinny the pig.
I read it and I thought, hold on, what? And I'd read it again for the next edit and I'd be like, oh, what a dog. And I'd read it again and I'd be like, what a prick. But like at the time of writing it, I actually didn't think they were that bad. Like
It's because you were completely taught throughout your entire life your worth, which was not
yeah,
not good. Plus, perhaps you thought that's all I deserve, and this man is so perfect, and I just need him.
yeah,
Where in reality, you need to say goodbye to him the
yeah.
minute.
No, wait till you read
The
the other half of
minute.
the book. Fuck me. um,
Okay, and so when you pitched this to a book writer, who did you pitch it to?
no
Your
one,
book.
no one. Oh,
How
well,
did
actually,
you get?
I did. I pitched it to the biggest publisher in Australia, right? Well, I
Yeah,
rang them up and I
yeah.
said, oh, I've written a book, rah, rah. And they said, look, our submissions are open in August and March, and that's it. And they said they get hundreds of thousands of manuscripts
So,
submitted, but they usually can't get through them all because there's so many and you need to be on the ball. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they said, oh, what's your book about? And so then I just went, blah, 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 blah. And they said, can you send us a copy today? And I said, is that
what
for the March submission? Sorry, August
for
or March?
August?
And they said, no, we want it on some desks today. And I got off the phone and I thought, no, they know I'm onto something. I'm publishing it myself. They can get fucked with their 70% because they take 70% of the earnings from the book when they publish it. And I thought, no, I think I'm on something. I'm doing it myself. So I registered my own company to publish the book
Oh.
because I was like, I'm going to keep my own profits for this.
And how are you distributing this book?
At toribaxter.com. So paperback. So the proper copies are they're gonna have silver
Can
foil.
you send me a copy? I will buy a copy right now.
You can do it. And I've got people flying down from Queensland, Tasmania, like people I've never met that have just seen my
Wow.
story online that have messaged me and they're like, I've brought a
That are
copy and I'm
coming.
coming. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Oh, girl. I
Crazy.
am so proud of you. And life is good now. So you stopped
Life's
work
good.
a month ago.
Did. Yeah, I'm going all in with this book because I cut off all my lifelines because I'm insane.
Tori, have you not been with a man and had relations in 30 days?
Oh, no, longer than that. July. Because I was still selling porn.
Yeah.
I had to get an operation in July to get rid of like bad cervical cells. And I thought, well, now I have a fresh vagina. No one's touching it.
No,
I haven't had sex since
nobody's
July.
touching.
Ever again.
Wow. You will. You will.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we're
funny.
hot in
That's
here.
funny. Oh, honestly, I am so in awe of you, getting through what you've been through in your life and creating 3 beautiful females. We need beautiful, strong females in this world, and you've created 3 of them. Congratulations. I have no doubt the eldest one is studying psychology because she wants to help
Yeah,
people like her beautiful mum.
yeah,
And this little one, she's so blessed to have you, honestly.
yeah.
Strong, capable. You've
Stubborn.
overcome. I can't wait to hear how you overcome all of this in the book.
Wait
But
until you
it's
read the second half of the book. That's
Tori.
like you know about the first half now. The second half, I think you're going to be sitting there like with your jaw on the floor.
Well, I tell you what, once it's released, let's do another one in a few
Let's
months
do
and
that
we'll talk about the second half of the
after you've
book.
read it. Yeah,
After I've read it. We'll do a book review of your book.
we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll read some passages and say, can you just explain this? Oh, Tori Baxter, thank you so much for talking to me today. I've been looking forward to meeting you. When you reached out to me, I was like, yep, I want to meet this girl.
Awesome.
This girl sounds incredible. And like I actually said to you in one of my voice messages that I sent you, so many people will relate to your story.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tori.
I hope I haven't traumatized you too much.
No, you haven't traumatized me. You've actually entertained me. Your delivery is entertaining.
Is it Jack? It's got problems in the head.
It's because of the trauma. I'm a bit the same. I make a
No,
joke of
it
trauma
is.
inappropriately, but
Yeah.
I think that's just us, right? Thanks for listening to Once Upon a Real Life with Belle. Don't forget to visit alphasport.com.au with your special discount code BELLE10 for 10% off Active Flex Pain Relieving Gel. My name's Belle. See you on the next episode.